this venue where the youngsters came away with a 2-0 win. Can Perth bounce back, or will Glory rock the leaders again? The Glory getters underway in their all-purple strip, kicking from the left to the right of your screen. Here's an early touch for Zaid Farah. And he'll get it back from Jack Leach in midfield, and he was looking further upfield for Josh Rawlins, but it ran out of play. Radanovic, under pressure from Luke Salmon, retreats all the way back to Francis Soale, and upfield it goes. Cataccione after this one, but Walsh is across well. Leach turns out of trouble and lays it into the path of Liam Murray. Murray will get the ball back from Rawlins. He's one-on-one with DeLeo. And Murray will chase after this one again, and in the end that's played off Rawlins for a goal kick to Perth Soccer Club. Thanks for joining us this afternoon on the Football West YouTube channel or Facebook page. This is one of 6 games being live streamed across the platforms, all of which are kicking off around about now. Elsewhere there's a possible early relegation 6-pointer between ECU Joondalup and Stirling, and a couple of other clashes that could have ramifications on top 4 positioning, with Coburn hosting Floria and Inglewood travelling to Balcatta. As De Cooley trips over and wins the free kick for the Glory. A Glory side who have bounced back with a couple of draws after a heavy defeat to Floriat a few weeks ago. Coming forward now with a little bit of confidence as Leach tried to thread the ball through to Murray, but in the end Theodosiades is released to Domfe, and Domfe's away here. Domfe into the area, he's got Cataccione at the back post, and it's turned into his own net by Walsh. The leaders lead. It's an unfortunate opening for the Glory, but Walsh was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And inside 3 minutes, it's Perth Soccer Club 1, Perth Glory 0. So the Glory, who'd made a fairly bright start and were looking to get on the front foot, were caught out by a ball forward from Theodosiades, and Domfe raced away, and with Cataccione at the back post lurking behind him, Walsh had to intervene, and unfortunately for the Glory centre-back, he didn't quite get his positioning right and ended up turning into his own net, unfortunately. Santic. Ball forward from Silla, was looking to release Cataccione. And then Domfe wins the ball back from Leach in midfield. Back it comes for the Glory. And Leach will find Salmon forward. Salmon, who's not been in the side since the early part of the season, but made a lively beginning in terms of goal scoring. Scored 2 late goals at ECU Joondalup to earn a 2-2 draw there. As De Cooley looks to release Salmon, and it may just find its way through to him. Salmon in the area, and he was trying to find De Cooley with the return pass, but it wouldn't hit him. Intercepted now by Leach. He's got Rawlings on his outside, and Leach will try and get the better of Soali, but It's got to be a good chip to beat the Perth stopper. Now here's Domfe, end-to-end start here at Dorrien Gardens, and Sansich's ball through, couldn't find a teammate, and the Glory will get an opportunity to just settle things down a little bit, you suspect, although they do like to play the ball out from the back. And we've got two good footballing sides here this afternoon, so thankfully the wet weather has stayed away and we should see a good contest this afternoon. Farah's under a little bit of pressure from Cataccioni. The Glory, though, determined to play their way out, and they're playing it across the 6-yard box, and they find a way out. Murray. Silla nearly headed that out into touch, but in the end the Glory got the ball back. And here's DeCooley, but he can't get the better of Zimmerino this time. Southgate with a switching ball. Theodosiades lurking in behind. And now here's Rawlins. Finds Salmon ahead of him. He stood up by Colwell. Little piece of improvisation from Salmon nearly worked. Sampson. And now Walsh. Bodnar, and across one more to Farah. Rawlins patient from the Glory. Now Salmon gets away from Radanovic and looks for Murray in the middle. It's cleared away by Southgate. Ball will drop to Leach. Into the area for Liam Murray. Glory look to split the play, and now Cam Murray is forward from left back, but Silla's got across well to snuff out that attack, I feel, and he does. He gets that one long and up the line, but the Glory continue to start brightly here. Despite that early setback, Perth Soccer Club 1, Perth Glory 0. Just about 8 minutes played as Leach looks forward for DeCooley, and Southgate can intercept that one. And near now Sampson doesn't quite find the release for DeCooley, and Sawali should gather that one up pretty comfortably. So Perth, who've just had one win in their last 3 games after 7 wins in a row, propelled them to the summit of the NPL WA. That loss to Rockingham last week was their first, and they still hold a comfortable lead, but they've got a tough run of games to come. Bayswater next week, and Inglewood and Floreat afterwards, who are all in contention of making a top 4 this season. So important that points are picked up in this period, and the gap that they hold at the top of the league doesn't shrink. And the early goal certainly helps that, even though it came in unfortunate circumstances, as Theodosiades retreats all the way back to Radanovic. Over to Tom Southgate, and now Alex Silla. Perth looking to just get the ball down and keep ball for a little while, settle the early tempo down a bit. Now the release forward for Cataccioni, but he's offside. Gustavo Cataccioni, who scored in 4 consecutive games earlier in the season. He's without a goal in a few weeks, though. He was off the bench last weekend in the defeat to Rockingham. And before that started in the game against Stirling. That was won by a 1-0. Dylan Tombides round. An absolute belter by Paul Zimmerino that day, and brothers Adam and Michael, of course, scoring last week as well. So a good couple of weeks for the Zimmerino boys. As Bodnar looks to play a nice ball through, and he does get it to DeCooley, and Liam Murray's running ahead of him. Ball will come back eventually to DeCooley. Those runs forward from the last man are causing Perth a little bit of problem at the moment. There's plenty of pace in that glory final third, and that time Theodosiadis' release wasn't on point for Domfey. First time in a few weeks that Cataccioni and Domfey have started up front together. Somewhat surprising given the early season form that both of them showed. There's a spell of 3 or 4 games where they both scored in consecutive games, and that really launched the Leaders' season. So Ali forward. He's got Cataccioni chasing as a willing runner, and he will get there first, the Brazilian. He's only got Domfey in the middle for the moment. Now he has Silla in support. And Cataccioni was offside as he tried to receive the return pass from Silla. Alex Silla, who started 7 of the first 8 NPL WA games this season. He returned versus ECU. And in the end, it was nearly a very dicey moment there by the Glory defence. They really do put an emphasis on playing out of the back, which is high risk, high reward stuff. As DeCooley gives chase to Southgate, it'll come back to Sampson, though, who's now under pressure from Milenkovic, and in the end the decision goes the way of the Glory. So Ali's ball forward will run all the way through to Jackson Lee. Lee, of course, returning to the team last week after a long run in the team for Nick Spaker in goal. And an unfortunate own goal given to Lee in that game as well, as DeCooley turns Southgate brilliantly and volleys just over. Well, that was a wonderful piece of improvisation from DeCooley, who flicked that around Southgate and turned brilliantly, and that would have been a heck of a finish if that were to have levelled the scores. And yet another warning to the league leaders that they won't quite have it all their own way this afternoon. Leach's ball reaches Rawlins, and Rawlins continues on his merry way here. He's got Salmon in support but can't quite pick him out. And now here's Kieran Colwell at left back today. Ex-Balcatta defender who can play anywhere across the back four, and a familiar player too, Ramon Falzone, who also was a former coach of Balcatta back in the day. Seems a very long time ago though. 2 league titles for Falzone, and coach of the year last year as Glory essentially gave up the league last season. They were in a tremendous position to win the NPL last year, but Perth hung off the back and swooped late on to win the league before ousting their rivals in a top 4 cup final. I apologise. A 4-1 win that day for Perth Soccer Club. But the Glory have got a reasonable recent record over the leaders. We'll touch on that in a second. Rawlings is putting Colwell under pressure, and Leach will head down for Salmon. Away by Radanovic, and now Sampson is looking to link up with DeCooley. A support from Cam Murray on the far side, but Silla bodies him out. It will come back to Murray though. And in the end they retreat all the way back to Walsh, who I imagine will go back to Lee once more. So that recent record I was talking about before is a pretty good one for the Glory in particular. They've won their last 3 trips to Dorrien Gardens, which included a penalty shootout win over Perth in the semi-final last season, a 2-2 draw at full time. Perth, as I touched on before, did get their revenge in the top 4 cup final, but in 2018, Glory won 2-0 here, and in 2017, it was also a success for the Glory too, so they're used to playing well at this venue, and based on what we've seen in the opening 20 minutes or so, they're showing enough of a threat to make sure Perth have got a real clash on their hands this afternoon, as the leaders retreat all the way back, and Zimmerino goes to Southgate. Bojan Radanovic, who's back in the starting 11 this week. Ball's turned over though. Walsh, Murray, and Cam Murray. Ball nearly turned over to Cataccioni, but Bodner was able to mop up the situation well enough. And now here's Liam Murray in a little bit of space. Can't get the better of Santich though. And Perth will come forward once more. Domfay putting pressure on Bodnar, and again a risky piece of play by Glory's defence, but they get out well enough until Leach loses out to Milenkovic, and Stephen Gregory blows the whistle for a foul. Looks like Leach, in his efforts to retrieve possession, just clipped Milenkovic on the way back through, and he's still on his haunches a little here. The winger, who scored in Perth's defeat to Rockingham last weekend, Matt Milenkovic. Perth have a set piece here, which is played forward to Milenkovic, and he wins the corner. He's still limping in the area, Milenkovic, and I'm not sure he's capable of Sansic's corner's headed away by De Cooley. Samson was beaten to the ball by Zimmerino. Sansic with a heavy challenge on De Cooley. It's a fair one though, and then it's poked through looking for Domfay, but Lee's out of his goal quickly to gather that. Of course, Michael Domfay scored 15 goals in 19 appearances for the Glory last season. It was a real breakout season for the youngster. And he's continued that pattern this season with 9 goals for Perth Soccer Club in 13 games. And currently third in the Golden Boot race as well is Domfay, behind Coburn's Daniel Robinson on 11 and Bayswater's Darryl Nicol on 10. And Domfay, of course, got on the scoreboard against his former side in the earlier fixture between these two sides this season. Goals from Cataccioni, Domfay and Sabatini, as well as that own goal as Samson pokes through for Salmon, who gets into the area, and Salmon across for De Cooley, can't keep his feet, and Zimmerino slashes away. And again, you just wonder if Luke Salmon could have possibly got a shot off on goal there. He was well into the area, looked to pull back for De Cooley, and in the end it was played slightly behind his strike partner, and in the end Zimmerino was in the box and there to defend, but confident play once more from the Glory. Rawlins keeps that in play and he gets the better of Caldwell again. Salmon, I think he got the last touch ahead of Sawali, and it'll be a goal kick for Perth. So a Glory side who have just won one of their last 5 NPL WA games, but back-to-back draws in recent weeks against Balcatta and Armidale after a heavy defeat against Floreat Athena. They have been undermanned in recent weeks though, as Farah pinches that off the toes of Domfay and Lee hoists that one forward. Glory side that's lost equal top scorer Daniel Steins to Bentley Greens, the NPL Victoria, and Walter Scott has moved over the ditch to the Wellington Phoenix. He's signed a contract with the A-League club for the 2019-20 season, and of course Jacob Italiano has pulled on the Glory kit in the NPL this season, and he's recently moved over to Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga, so somewhat decimated by injury and departure in recent weeks have the Glory, but they look to have just recovered themselves over the past fortnight. Of course, they possibly should have beaten Balcatta if not for a late stunner by John Corness. A 93rd minute volley that was pretty much the last kick of the game. Zimmerino. Ball forwards, looking for Milenkovic, who's just straight offside. This is actually the first of 3 consecutive home games for Perth in the NPL. Big clash against Bayswater next weekend that we look forward to bringing you. And then the week after that is the Cup final, and then NPL action resumes once more. Of course, next weekend, as well as the clash with Bayswater here at Dorrien Gardens, the Glory's senior side are playing Manchester United at Optus Stadium. I wonder if a few of the youngsters who have impressed in the NPL this season will get a chance to get some minutes against the Premier League side. As Salmon's ball was looking for Rawlins on the overlap, but it goes out of play. In fact, Soale managed to gather that just before it crossed the line, and his launch is looking for Milenkovic, but again, going to run all the way through for Lee. Whose father, of course, Paul, is heavily involved with Perth Soccer Club. A former junior of these parishes is Jackson Lee. A very good goalkeeper with his feet as Domfay looks to beat Lee to the ball, and in the end Lee did just enough to avert the danger, but not done just yet until Leach steps in. Zimmerino's ball forwards looking for Milenkovic, but that's too strong, and in the end it will be a throw-in deep in Glory's defence as Perth look to press up and box their opponents in. Cam Murray goes for distance and finds Liam Murray, who's got a little bit of space to run into until Silla got back well to get a foot in. Theodosiades, who also scored last week in the Rockingham defeat. His first goal of the NPL WA season. And here he is again on the edge of the area. He's got Milenkovic outside of him. And now Silla supporting from full back. Headed away by Farrer as far as Cataccioni, and it's straight at Lee, who's down well together. Left-footed drive from Gustavo Cataccioni. Got the power on it, but couldn't quite direct that towards the corner. Appeals for handball against Southgate. Theodosiades looks forward for Domfay, and Lee should be out of his goal and able to play Glory forward once more. Rawlins, pass cut out by Colwell. And now Milenkovic. Silla to Southgate and into the feet of Zimmerino, who's playing a deeper role in 2019. Nicknamed the Bomber. Scored 21 goals in 2018, but having an influence in midfield this season, and has scored a few long-range crackers this season, most notably in the FFA Cup, but also against Sterling a couple of weeks ago. Proved to be the winner in Dylan Tombidi's round. Bodner does well to beat Cadiccioni to the ball, and Sampson and Sancic battle for possession. He does well there, Sancic, and finds Domfey, who looks to breeze past Walsh, and Sancic will follow in and drag his shot wide of the post. Domfey once again looking to run off the last man, and in the end Bodner did well to get a foot in, but the ball broke to Sancic, who couldn't get an effort on target on his weaker left foot. Good opportunity though for Perth to double their advantage. They do lead 1-0 though. Just over half an hour played in this first half. Daniel Walsh's early own goal 3 minutes in, the goal that separates the sides. Other than that, it's been a pretty even first half so far. Glory have had plenty of moments where they've looked dangerous, but Francis Soale's yet to really make a save of note. But a couple of close calls nonetheless, as Murray looks to find Salmon. He's got Rawlins joining in an attack. Now, Rawlins is one-on-one with Caldwell. Plays it back for Sampson, whose shot's blocked by Zimmerino, and away comes Theodosiades. And tidied up by Leach again. Sampson and Leach are forming a good partnership in the centre of the park in recent weeks. And this time Sampson, can't thread the ball through, and Perth get possession back. Domfey looked to poke through for Cadiccioni, but Theodosiades nearly retrieved the situation. Plenty of talk from Richard Garcia on the Glory bench. Their head coach, of course, urging his team to maintain the belief that their pretty solid first half showing is warranted. Murray can't quite get to the ball before Radanovic, and his ball finds Domfey wide on the right here. He's only got Cadiccioni in the middle, and in the end the cross is too deep for his strike partner. Murray. Zimmerino slid in there and caught Leach as he tried to win the ball back, and he'll be the first name into the referee's notebook today. Yellow card for Paul Zimmerino as he looked to slide in and win possession back from Leach, and the Glory now have a free kick just inside Perth's half, which will be taken short, as it tends to be. Cataccioni. Can't find Milenkovic. Bodnar. Looks to switch for Rawlins, but it's cut out. And now Theodosiades, he hasn't got much ahead of him, and in the end has to put that forward into touch. And the Glory will make an early change here. So I'm not sure if that's an injury or whether that's tactical, but it's Liam Murray who comes off here, and on comes Trent Osler. Murray, who is being attended to by the physio down there, so perhaps he has pulled a muscle of some sort, or has a slight knock, and on comes Trent Osler with 10 minutes to play before the break. And here he is now getting his first touch, Osler. Salmon's ball forward for Rawlins, but he couldn't quite bring the football down. Rawlins can't get the better of Perth's defence on this occasion, but it's only cleared as far as Farah. Now Leach. Salmon. Nice little clip through looking for Zakuli, but Southgate in the right place to clear the danger. Radanovic looking for the run of Santic, who does well to beat Walsh in the air, and Santic is still going. And I think that's a free kick just on the edge of the area. Walsh will be sent off. So Gloria down to 10 men here. And it's Daniel Walsh who unfortunately scored the own goal earlier, and now he's been shown a straight red card. A challenge was on Christian Santic, who looked to weave his way in between the defender and the goal. And the foul was committed on the edge of the area, and Stephen Gregory showed the red card. And now this is a really tough challenge for the youngsters. And Perth have a free kick in a really good position here. It's been lined up by Zimmerino. It's Zimmerino to strike, and it's just wide of the upright. I think Lee may have had that one covered anyway, but Zimmerino opted to go through the wall there. Now, how will the Glory react with 10 men on the field? They've not slotted anybody into that back four as of yet. And Liam Murray Cam Murray, does really well there forward. And Salmon looks to release DeCooley, and DeCooley's strike didn't quite catch it. And despite being a player down, the Glory did launch a pretty good counter-attack there. Richard Garcia's not put anybody into that defence as of yet. So Glory look to be playing with a back three of Cam Murray, Bodnar and Farah. In fact, Rawlins has slotted into right back from the right of midfield, and Farah joins Bodnar in the centre of defence. So it's looking like a 4-3-2 formation with De Cooley and Salmon still up front. Is Cataccioni offside? He's just strayed beyond the last man. He slipped anyway, so it didn't matter. Oh, brilliant pass from Farah to find Sampson, and that's opened up the field for Glory as De Cooley looks to run onto Sampson's pass. He can't quite get there, and in the end Radanovic does well to slide in. Wonderful football out the back from Glory. That was swarmed by 4 sky blue shirts there. And Farah's left-footed ball was an absolute beauty to find Sampson. They'll still be courageous from the back, the Glory, as Farah clears into touch from Theodosiades. 3 minutes to go before the break. And the visitors will be hoping they can hold on and only go in a goal down as Domfey strikes on a turn. It's charged down. Osler looking to pressure Milenkovic, and in the end the push is paid by Steve Gregory. And Perth will get a set piece around 35 yards from goal. High line, it's around 20 yards out for the Glory. It's in by Sancic, headed away by Leach, and on further by Salmon. Rawlins does really well to win possession, but it's turned back over. And here's Sancic again. Domfey at the back post, and Lee does well to punch behind for a corner. And those defenders will stay forward for the hosts here. Radanovic and Southgate forward. Zimmerino lurking on the edge of the area. Everybody back defending for the Glory. It's whipped in by Sancic and cleared away by Salmon. Caldwell will switch out wide for Southgate, headed away by Osler. And now Salmon will look to launch a counter, and they were 2-on-2 there for a minute, Glory. And once again their pace up front has perhaps caught Perth's defence napping a little bit there, despite having a man less. Here's Osler again, who looks to hit one from distance, and gosh, that wasn't far over at all in the end. It dipped towards that corner, and in the end the home side escape. And again, the warning signs are still there. Southgate now as we tick into first half stoppage time. Ball will run all the way through for Lee. Sampson under pressure from Sancic. Perth now pushing on, but they once again find their way out of trouble brilliantly, the Glory, as Leach and Salmon link up. Time ticking down in the opening 45 minutes, but can Glory launch forward and create one more moment? It's Osler's ball and it's gathered by Sawali. And that might just do us for the first 45. Stephen Gregory looks at his watch and blows the half-time whistle. So a lively first half from both teams. A half in which neither goalkeeper had to make a notable save, but Daniel Walsh's own goal inside 3 minutes is the goal that separates the teams at the moment. And then Walsh's afternoon went from bad to worse as he became tangled with Christian Santic and saw a straight red card. But despite the setback, the Glory responded pretty well. And Perth's lead isn't as secure as you'd think, despite having the extra man. We'll bring you the scores from around the grounds early in the second half, but at half-time here at Dorrien Gardens, it's Perth Soccer Club 1, Perth Glory 0. Back shortly with the second half. Opportunity quickly to give you some half-time scores from around the grounds before we start the second half. It's Armidale 0, Bayswater 0, Balcatta 0, Inglewood United 1, Coburn City 0, Floreat Athena 2, ECU Joondalup 0, Stirling 0, and Sorrento 2, Rockingham City 0. Steve Gregory blows his whistle and we're underway again. Perth getting us up and running from the left to the right of your screen in their sky blue jersey and white shorts. The Glory in their all purple kit. And the visitors with a real task on their hands if they are to come back and get a result here against the league leaders. As Cataccione looks to drive at Glory's defence early. Still going Cataccione, and in the end Farah comes in and cuts down the attack. DeCooley. Pickpocketed by Radanovic, who looks for Domfey, and in the end Bodnar and Murray are there to mop up. Leach goes all the way back to Lee, who's under pressure from Santich. A switch of the play will be kept in by Rawlins. And this was a feature of the opening 45 minutes. The Glory determined to play their way out, and they've done brilliantly to switch it to this far side here as Osler looks to run at Southgate. Southgate stands his ground well, but Osler gets the ball back. Chance for Glory to launch into attack at the start of the second half. Farah's little toe poke is almost kept in by Rawlins, but the flag is up and Perth will get the throw back. So 3 wins in a row at this venue for the Glory. That record is under threat this afternoon, though. In fact, those 3 wins are the only 3 wins the Glory have had over Perth Soccer Club in the NPL era since 2014. Perth have won 8 of those games with 2 draws, including the 2-all penalty shootout win in last season's semi-final. Ramon Falzone urging his team to keep the pressure on below us. As Farah goes forward looking for DeCooley, who brings the ball under control but then loses out to Radanovic. And now here's Silla. Space here for Milenkovic wide on the right. But his cross is poor in the end, and I'm sure Matt Milenkovic will want that moment again. Theodosiades clip through, looking for Domfey. Lee's clearance. Well, he got away with that, I think. He completely miscued that, and in the end, Murray did well to dig it out of trouble, but Perth get the ball back and come forward here. In fact, Silla goes back to Zimmerino, and now Milenkovic has space on this right-hand side. Patient play by the home side. Zimmerino looks for Domfey. Domfey tries to get a shot the way. It's really well done by Murray to get the block in, and in the end Murray can find Leach with feet. And now Salmon wide to Rawlins, who's ball forward searches for DeCooley, but that should run all the way through for Suwali. So in case you're just joining us, the Glory are playing in the second half with 10 men after Daniel Walsh's red card. In fact, it was Nick Walsh that saw the red ticket from Steve Gregory after becoming tangled up with Christian Santich on the edge of the area. And Zimmerino races away here. Lee's out of his goal. Can he beat Zimmerino? Murray's there to assist, and Perth get away with another one there. It's Bodner who puts that one behind, and the home team will stay on the attack. Milenkovic fouled by Leach there, and Perth will get the set piece. Zimmerino there driving through the heart of the Glory's defence. Lee was off his line very quickly and once again did just enough to snuff out the danger, but they're living a charmed life at the moment, a Glory's defence. Weathering a storm at the start of the second half. They should get some relief in form of a goal kick now, though. And again, it's quickly played by Lee out to Farah. And on to Rawlins. Very quick tempo to the start of the second half once again as Sampson is fouled in midfield. Josh Sampson, who made 26 appearances with the under-20s last season. Definitely one to watch this season. He's made 7 first-team appearances this season. Part of the under-16 squad that went to the professional sevens tournament in Singapore in 2017. And he started 6 of the last 8 games for the Glory in the NPL, and as touched on, they are generating a partnership. He and Leach in midfield as Cataccione's flagged for offside. Salmon turns away from Zimmerino and finds Rawlins. Osler. Salmon. Tried to play the 1-2 between them, but Salmon's return ball was slightly overhit. Substitutes for both teams warming up on the far right of your screen. On this near touchline as Theo Dosiadis' ball's a nice one, and it will find Cataccione, who's one-on-one with Rawlins. Cataccione gets the better of his man and puts it in the middle. And Perth have a second. I'm not sure who the final touch came off there and who that goal will be credited to, but Cataccioni made all the running down the left-hand side and poked a dangerous ball into the 6-yard box, and a number of Glory defenders and Perth attackers were in the middle. We'll have to confirm that goal scorer for you at full time as Jack Leach comes off and is replaced by Ethan Brooks. So it's Perth Soccer Club 2, Perth Glory 0. Potentially 2 own goals have given the leaders a pretty comfortable break now, and now they come forward plenty of confidence as Theodosiades and Caldwell link up. Caldwell's cross headed away by Farah, and as far as Santic, gathered by Lee down low, but just get the feeling that Perth are starting to make their move in this game as Samson does well to beat Cataccioni to the ball, and the Perth forward concedes a foul. Brooks and Salmon link up nicely. And Santic becomes the first Perth player to go into the book today. The second, in fact, after Paul Zimmerino. Bodner's ball forward is too heavy for Brooks. Caldwell. Ball forward looking for Cataccioni, who stood up well by Farah. And still going once again is Cataccioni. It's determined play from the Brazilian who caused chaos in Glory's defence, and that led to the second goal of this game. In the end, Farah gets that as far away as possible. Radanovic plays a nice ball looking for Domfe, but he's offside. Now here's DeCooley at the other end looking for a support, and unfortunately his touch crossed the line before he could put the cross into the middle. Perth looking to make a change just below us here, as Harley Orr gets a few words from Ramon Falzone, and he'll enter the field imminently. Southgate forward, cut out by Bodner. And now Silla releases Domfe, and Domfe's away here. Michael Domfe can't round Lee. Still going Domfe. And Domfe finds the net eventually. Determined play from Perth's leading marksman. His 10th goal of the season. And that should seal things for the leaders. 3 goals and probably 3 points now. So Michael Domfe scores against his former side for the second time this season, and that may just put the leaders out of reach this afternoon. There was questions about the identity of the second goal scored this afternoon, but there was no doubt about that from Domfe, who drove through Glory's defence and attempted to round Lee, managed to stay on his feet, and then turned and struck powerfully into the back of the net. And 62 minutes into this one at Dorrien Gardens, it's Perth Soccer Club 3, Perth Glory 0. Double change happened just after that goal, 1 for each team. It was Gomo DeCooley who made way for Daniel Walsh. And Harley Orr entered the field for Paul Zimmerino. Orr, of course, who suffered a terrible injury against Floreat in round 5 this season, but has started the last 2 games and gradually is making his way back off the bench this afternoon. Of course, he'd scored 3 goals earlier in the season in the first 5 games before that injury. And he's a very welcome piece to Perth's puzzle in the second half of the season. Now, can the Glory pull one back here as Osler finds Brooks? And Osler will get the return. Brooks again plays it off Southgate and out for a throw. Osler's cross is deep for Rawlins. It's headed away by Colwell. Cadiccioni looked to clip through for Domfe, but Walsh was there to mop up. Daniel Walsh, one of 3 Glory players who are off to Canberra next week for the Joey's camp, along with brother Nick and Trent Osler. And here is Osler. Rawlins stayed onside, and Colwell got a toe in. And now Colwell looks to bring Perth forward, but they look pretty well in control of things at the moment to the home side. 3 goals clear and a man extra with 25 minutes remaining. And they look set to increase their lead at the top of the NPL, with Balcatta losing as it stood to Inglewood at half-time. And that sets up a monster tie with Bayswater next weekend here at Dorrien Gardens, which will be brought to you live on the Football West YouTube channel or Facebook platform, wherever you may be viewing this afternoon. Sancic. Ball forward is too close to Lee. And just below us here is Alex Jovic, who will get around 23, 24 minutes here off the bench, as the Glory continue to come forward and look to pull one back, and now the change can be made. And it will be Andreas Theodosiades who will make way. Another good run out for Theo Dosiades, who's had a pretty tough spell with injury over the past year or two, but it's now getting some regular football. He was a positive sub against Stirling and then scored last week against Rockingham. And now he's replaced by Alex Jovic after 66 minutes. Jovic, a player who likes to get forward. He's made largely substitute appearances though in 2019. He did score in the cup game against Balga. And can he make an impact in this final quarter of an hour? Murray does well to get the better of Milenkovic there. And now he has Osler in a little bit of space. Murray's continued his run forward, but Southgate will get there first. And the Glory will have a set piece. A corner which will be taken by Osler. It's deep, looking for Daniel Walsh. And in the end, the centre half retrieves it. So Ali will come for that and will gather at the second attempt. Silla. Jovic forward for Milenkovic. His pass cut out by Bodnar. And now Osler can run again. Largely substitute appearances in 2019, Trent Osler. He's had a good hour though here after coming on early for Liam Murray. And now Domfey, he's found Sancic in plenty of space. And he tees off for Jovic to hit. Skewed off the outside of the boot. Still alive for Domfey though. And now Jovic again. And in the end, Perth are patient and play all the way back to Cataccioni. Pass was short for Jovic and cut out by Bodnar. And now Sampson can release for Salmon. Sampson. So a free kick for the Glory here. Salmon will look to hook towards goal, and in the end it goes straight through. And out for a goal kick. Ramon Falzone having a chat with Frank Fafaro below us here, and I'd expect to see him fairly shortly as well as we tick into the final 20 minutes here. Colwell's ball forward will look for Cataccioni, but Farah's across to cut out. Glory still determined to play out from the back. Lee's clearance will work out pretty well. And now Sampson plays forward for Salmon, who'll get there first. Sawali's way out of his goal. Shouts for a handball. And Salmon is certain that Sawali handballed that outside of the box there. And Stephen Gregory said that Sawali didn't handball that, and perhaps the home side got away with one there. So Salmon raced away from Sampson's pass. He got there ahead of Sawali, and the goalkeeper kept himself big and in the face of Salmon, and in the end he did the absolute bare minimum to clear that away. And now change number 3 is made by the home side as Cataccioni comes off and Frank Fafaro does come on. So both teams have emptied their bench now. Still Perth Soccer Club 3, Perth Glory 0. The leaders continuing on their merry way in season 2019, but the Glory have played pretty well this afternoon despite the score line, and for a couple of unfortunate goals they may be a little bit closer here. As Milenkovic is stood up by Murray. Here he is again. He's got Siller on his outside. Domfey beaten to the ball by Walsh, and now Walsh is continuing his run forward. It's Osler who's launched forward looking for Salmon, and I think Salmon's fouled Southgate there. He has. Colwell's pass forward is looking for Fafaro, but he's offside. So as it stands, Perth looks set to secure a 6th clean sheet of the season, leading the lead for those. And of course it would be 3 in the last 4 games, with the outlier being Rockingham last week, as Domfay goes forward again. It bounces back to him almost, and in the end Farah will poke out wide for Brooks. Domfay looking to add a 4th here and improve his golden boot prospects, but the Glory play out nicely again here, and Sampson's ball will find Osler. He's got Rawlins out wide. Osler's continued his run. He's still going, Trent Osler. Into the feet of Salmon. And now Brooks is forward. It'll come back to Osler. And that's just driven wide of the post. So another nice moment for Glory going forward, but they just couldn't quite work Soali in the Perth goal. And their endeavour has deserved a goal this afternoon. It just hasn't quite happened for them. 2 unlucky own goals and down to 10 men for the last hour of this game. Milenkovic is chasing after this one, and Lee was calm enough to find Walsh. Rawlins. 1-2 with Bodner, and Radanovic cuts out the ball looking for Osler. Bodner into the area here. Rawlins. Deep ball. Met the head of Silla, but the ball will be retrieved by Brooks, and now Cam Murray. Bodner again, foot in by Fafaro, and the Glory will get a throw in. Deep in that corner. Osler's ball didn't find a teammate and ran all the way through to Soali, who had that moment a little bit earlier on where he came out of his goal and got away with one. There's been a little bit of eccentric goalkeeping from both teams today. Back in the team this week, of course, Perth stopper and captain after Dejan Alexic deputised last week. 3 consecutive league starts before that. As Domfay gets into the area and still going, Domfay spilled by Lee and gathered at the second attempt as Fafaro looked to put in the rebound. Fafaro. Headed away by Walsh. Last touch came off Rawlins there, and Perth will get another throw in. 10 minutes to play here at Dorrien Gardens. Still Perth Soccer Club 3, Perth Glory 0. Leaders look to have bounced back from that defeat last week and will return to winning ways, it seems. Jovic's ball punched away by Lee. Fafaro brings it down, and now here's Milenkovic. Looks to get the better of Farah, and in the end Lee can gather that one on the edge of the 6-yard box. Quick release again for Brooks. And here's Rawlins. He's got Salmon ahead of him. Last touch off Radanovic, and quickly taken, thrown by Salmon. Bodnar loses out to Perth's back four, and now Jovic can come away. Crossfield pass by Santic. Lee should be able to gather, and in the end he sends that one out wide to Brooks. Osler turns all nicely. Southgate intervening as he has on multiple occasions this afternoon. Excellent at the back today is Tom Southgate, who joined Perth Soccer Club this season after spending 2018 at Forestfield. Also won the State Cup with the Western Knights in 2017. 8 starts in a row for Southgate. And here he is again, linking up with Harley Orr. The home team just looking to play some nice possession football across the back. The release by Sillars, cut out by Walsh. And now Bodnar, who looks to have moved into midfield. Salmon, tough one to control, and in the end it runs through for Soali. Silla, it's got Milenkovic ahead of him, and now Milenkovic can run into the area. Domfey's arriving, as is Fafaro, and Fafaro adds a fourth. 4 goals, 3 points, and the leaders continue on their merry way. Frank Fafaro's second goal of the season, and it's Perth Soccer Club 4, Perth Glory 0. Tough day for the youngsters here. They'll rue their luck in that first 45 minutes where they played some pretty good football, but they're on the end of a pretty harsh scoreline now. But for Perth, this is the perfect response after a defeat last weekend. And it was a lovely move that opened up on this right-hand side as Silla found Milenkovic's run ahead of him, and Domfey was arriving, as was Fafaro, and he swept it beautifully into the top corner. And the substitute has a sniff again. He's driving into the area, Frank Fafaro. He's got Milenkovic at the back post. It's cut out by Murray. And now Osler's looking for support, and he gets it in the form of Rawlins. Sampson with a switch out wide here for Brooks. Ball forward now for Salmon, and Southgate can mop that up. Colwell keeps that one alive. Into the final 5 minutes of play here. It's going to be a healthy win for the leaders. And it puts them firmly into next weekend's fixture with Bayswater on the right footing. And Glory will have to lick their wounds after this one, but they've got Sorrento, ECU, Joondalup and Stirling in the next 3 NPL match weeks, so a chance for them to get their top 4 hopes back on track. With some fixtures against teams in the bottom half of the NPL. Of course, the senior side has a midweek friendly against Bayswater before their big clash with Manchester United at Optus Stadium next Saturday. Jovic finds Silla. Perth come forward again. Milenkovic gets the better of Brooks, and Milenkovic finds for Faro, and in by Domfey. Flag stays down. 5-star performance from Perth today. Domfey gets his second, and it's Perth Soccer Club 5, Perth Glory 0. $11 goals this season for Michael Domfey. It brings him level at the top of the Golden Boot standings with Coburn's Daniel Robinson. And he may yet get a chance to score a third here as Jovic finds Sancic wide on the left. Sancic cuts inside. Glory have got plenty of numbers back now. It's for Faro to Jovic. Or with a half tackle, half pass, and for Faro's offside on that far touchline. Bodnar. Salmon. Can't find Osler. And here's Salmon again. Into Sampson. Can they get a consolation here, the Glory? It's hit by Rawlins and it's straight at Soali. And it just about sums up their afternoon, the Glory. They've toiled hard and played some really nice football at times, particularly in that first half, but they did go down to 10 men, and as the game's rolled on, it's just got away from them. Lee is miles off his line yet again, but this time he's there first and putting that into touch. 30 seconds into stoppage time here in the closing stages of this one. 5-0 to Perth. Sancic showing marvellous still. He's still going, Sancic. Strike at goal, and Lee dives across to save, but yet again Perth turning it on in these latter stages. Osler. One-on-one with Southgate again. And this time he wins the foul from the Perth defender. So a final chance perhaps for the Glory to strike late as Brooks' cross, and it just evades Walsh. And away by Colwell. Perth counter again. Fafaro's pass looks a bit heavy for Domfe, and it is. Osler. Support arriving in the form of Salmon, and Osler wins another corner for the Glory. Been one of Glory's better performers today is young Trent Osler. Plenty of pace down the flanks and has looked to stretch Perth's defence today. So Ali punches away. Brooks will hit it. And it's over a bar and into the brick wall behind the goal. Did take a deflection on its way through, and the Glory will get a secondary corner. Could well be the last attack of the match. Bodner jumped but couldn't get his head to it, and that's the full-time whistle here at Dorrien Gardens. So Perth bounced back from their first defeat of the season with 5 goals here at home to the Glory. They didn't have it all their own way though, as the Glory played pretty well in that first half. They were unlucky early on when Nick Walsh turned into his own net. And then Walsh saw red after becoming tangled with Sancic, and in the end the game got away from the Glory in the second half as their legs started to tire. Another own goal, we think, early in the second half before a double for Michael Domfe and a sweeping strike into the top corner for Frank Fafaro. And the hosts bounce back in the best possible way. Full time here at Dorrien Gardens. Perth Soccer Club 5, Perth Glory 0. Big game next week here as they host Bayswater. Look forward to bringing that to you from Dorrien Gardens again. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye.